Damn, it's hot. Am I sweating? Look like I'm sweating. It's 95. That's what just what the car says. I think it's more than 95. Let's just say that. Yikes! Oinks oinks! I think it's close to 100, which it's nice. If you've never been to New England, it's nice when it's like 58 degrees at night, and then a couple of days go by and it's 100 degrees. Jesus, oh Lord, this is most of what it felt like in Nazareth or Golgotha. Where was Jesus crucified? Golgotha. Must have been a steamy hot day that day when the high noon sun was covered in black and the ground cracked open. Anyways, that's your biblical lesson for this morning. I hope you're doing well. Hit the like button, that thumbs up button. Jam that thing. Just do it. Like Nike said, just do it. Just hit the thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe. Hit the notification bell. I go live every weekday. Today we're going to talk about the irony of some of these United States. Particular states like Louisiana, named, of course, after the French king Louisiana. Was his middle name Anna? Some of the stuff might be made up, but when we get into the news, that will be real. Yes, I believe Louisiana was named after the French king Louis Anna the Fourth. Louis Anna the Fourth Precinct. That's who Louisiana gets their name from. The capital of voodoo and hoodoo that you do so well. Hell, makes me want to shoop it oop. And we're going to talk about how in Louisiana, they now are required by law to post the 10 Commandments in all schools, kindergarten through state college, I think. And how one of those commandments says, thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not murder. That's one of the commandments. But at the same time, Louisiana is making it by law, a state law, to post the 10 Commandments in school. At that same time, they're trying to make the law, other laws in their state, make it easier for them to execute prisoners. Is that irony? Everybody goes, oh, it's not irony. Like Alanis Morissette's song, which I was just listening to. They say, oh, it's not ironic. Most of the things in that song aren't ironic. Well, is it ironic that a state is making the schools teach kids about the 10 Commandments, one of them being thou shalt not kill? But at the same time, that state government that's making them learn thou shalt not kill is also trying to make it easier for the state to kill its prisoners? That's got to be irony, right? The irony. Do what I say, not what I do. Do what I post in your hallways, not what we actually are doing in the state. And there's a lot of interesting stuff when it comes to, God dang, it's so hot. My shirt's sticking to me. And there's a lot of things that are funny about Louisiana investing time and resources to put up posters of the 10 Commandments in their schools. If you didn't get the ruling, if you didn't hear about this, it's all over the news. I didn't want to touch upon it, really, because I think it's so stupid. Because you know what happens next? The Church of Satan's going to say, well, if you could put the 10 Commandments up, and there is a part of the Constitution that says the government, there should be no federal law that ordains a religion that, makes a certain religion, which this does. This breaks the Constitution. You can't have a law that says the 10 Commandments, which is a Abrahamic religious law. You can't do that. There's a clear crossover between church and state there. So they can't have a law that says you have to have Abraham's 10 Commandments up on the wall. That's establishing a religion right there in a federal building. Can't do that. But they did. And if they do that, you know what comes next. The Church of Satan's going to be popping out. Their ears perked up. Satanic Temple, Church of Satan, whichever one it is, they're different, just so you know. But they're going to be like, oh, then we need some satanic 10 commandments up there. And it's going to be court cases. And all this stuff is going to be fought over hooey-fooey, for a lack of a better term. Because this is dumb. This is dumb stuff. Whether you believe in it or not, whether you think it's good or not, this is money, time, and resources spent on the most dumb stuff ever. No money should be allocated to this. You want to know how the best way to teach somebody that you believe in the 10 commandments? Here's a little life tip, life hack. I'm much older than most of you, okay? Hit subscribe and the notification bell. I say hit the notification bell because I go live every weekday, and I want you to join in the chat. There's a few folks, New Zealand Sky, My Sky New Zealand, Bandito Suavecito, Ku the Freestyler out of Egypt. There's quite a few folks that I love when they jump up in the chat, so that's why I say please. Oh, and thank you to everybody who's been subscribing. We're almost at 1330. We're halfway there. 1,330 subscribers. I know we can do it. Thank you for all those who have got us to here, and thank you to all those who are going to get us past 1,330 subscribers. I salute to you. Thank you very much. So hit the subscribe and hit the notification bell. Damn, what was I talking about? I think I lost track because I was telling people to subscribe. Oh, the best way, here's the life hack, all right, for you young heads out there, and for you people that maybe just have lost your way. You're maybe older than me and you're just unaware. But the best way to teach people and to show people and to get people to live the law of the 10 commandments is live it yourself. If you exemplify the way that you want people to live, people will eventually be attracted to that. Be like, man, how are you doing so well? How are you doing that? You know what I mean? Like, live like Jesus, if that's what it is. You know, Jesus said, like, I want you to live like I do. Feed the hungry. Not like when his disciples were like, should we break them off some cash and send these followers, these 5,000 folks into town so they could get some takeout? Should we call Uber Eats Jesus? And Jesus was like, nah, man, how much bread and fish you got? Give it to me. Let me bless it. Let me break it up and we'll feed them all right here. And they were like, what? We ain't got the money for that. He was like, I'm God man. I'm man God. Sounds like an Adult Swim Cartoon Network series. Man God. Radical man God. Feeding the hungry. Which, by the way, the state of Louisiana does not feed all of its children, all of its school children. It ain't feeding them like Jesus did. It's not doing that. It's not living what it preaches. It's not practicing what it preaches. But that's one of the best ways. Instead of spending time, money to fight court cases and make yourself look like an asshat, why don't you just have everybody that's working for you kind of exemplify the way you want people to live? You know, and it comes from all different creeds and faiths, but essentially you make sure the people that are role modeling what you want adults to look like are practicing what they preach. And I think it's funny that the state of Louisiana, again, all the links down in the description, all the links to the articles I talk about down in the description. I got a link going into when is this dated? Because this is very, very recent. March 5th, 2024. Louisiana on Tuesday became one of the toughest states in the nation on crime when Governor Jeff Landry signed a series of bills that will keep criminals in prison longer, enable citizens to carry guns without a permit, and resurrects the electric chair and adds nitrogen gas to lethal injection as methods used to execute death row inmates. So, while they're fighting in court to put up the 10 commandments in every school in Louisiana, every state-run school in Louisiana, they're also enabling it to be easier for the state to use the electric chair. I love how they use the word resurrect. They're resurrecting the electric chair in Louisiana. Meanwhile, they're trying to force people to understand that Jesus was resurrected to save you and me, to save our souls. And they're trying to resurrect that electric chair, which I think, Jesus, probably a big fan of state executions, right? Isn't that how he died? You think he's a big fan of it? I mean, Louisiana, why don't you just go all in and make it legal to crucify people? That way, you're like, hey, you want to be the next living incarnate of Christ? We'll resurrect you here. Commit the wrong crime. So this was just March of 2024, where they're signing laws to make it easier to execute death row inmates. And again, I'm not saying where I side on any of this. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy that Louisiana wants to put up posters in their school, the 10 Commandments, one of them being thou shalt not kill, while the other hand, the other state hand, watch what one hand is doing. Always know what your right hand and your left hand are doing. Because in one hand, the Republican-run government in Louisiana says, we want kids to see these posters that say, thou shalt not kill. And at the same time, we also want to make it easier for the state to be able to execute people. Make it make sense, people. Make it make sense. Again, I'm not saying I stand anywhere on any side of any of this. Here's my position on it all. You're wasting fucking money. Instead of spending any of that money that went to court or resources to print posters, that should be going to feed kids that go to your schools. You should, number one, first and foremost, every kid that goes to school should just be able to get lunch. Whether they can afford it or not, when they go to school, that should be the number one priority. And if you know anything about that, because hungry kids can't learn as well. Distracted, stressed, hungry children are not going to be able to learn as well. So the side I stand on is outside of this argument. I reject this reality, and I say every fucking ounce of energy and nickel, dime, penny you're spending on this, Louisiana, is money ill spent. And it's going to come back to bite you. So that is part of the irony. Is it irony? Let's go over the 10 Commandments real quick for those of us who forgot. I am the Lord your God. You shall not have strange gods before me. What about familiar gods? You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. God damn it. I think I do that one. Remember to keep holy the Lord's day. How are we supposed to keep it holy when these corporations need us to work because we've got to work 3 jobs? Like, tell your corporate masters to keep the day holy. I'd love to sit around and pray all day. And I'm not even being facetious right there. I'm not even telling a joke. I would love to sit in prayer and meditation on a holy day. But I can't. God damn. Sorry. Again. Fuck. All right. Honor your father and your mother. I totally respect that. I like that one. Number 5, you shall not kill. State of Louisiana, are you paying attention? Maybe we should put up these 10 Commandment posters in the courtrooms. That's what I'm for. I'm for putting up the 10 Commandments in the courtroom so the judge can look over at the wall when they're about to sentence someone to death and go, you should not kill. Maybe this judge has a second opinion on whether they sentence people to death. Maybe the prosecutors can look at these. If we're going to put them up in the schools, put them up in the courtrooms too. Not just for the criminals. And I'm going to get to that, okay? I'm going to get to that. For you who go, you're easy on crime. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm just like Jesus wanted me to be. I'm loving on crime. When people commit crimes, you say, they obviously needed some help. How can we help them? And that's true. That's, somebody robbed my car once. I had a great CD collection. The only CD I'm glad they took was my Kid Rock one. And I'm embarrassed that I own that. But that was their punishment. Having to listen to that. And I did own it. Hey, The Ba with the Ba, when that came out in 2001 or whatever, 99, it was a banger. And then Kid Rock just went off the rails. Psychopath. Panderer. I hate when they start pandering to make money. But listen, guy robbed my car, right? I was living in not the best neighborhood, robbed my car. But not only did he steal the tools after my dad had passed, all I had left from him was his tools. I had him in my back seat because I was moving. They stole my record collection, stole my dad's tools, but they also took my ashtray and dumped it out all over the car. And trust me, I'm still mad about it to this day. But I really feel like that person has more wrong with them than I could imagine. And they need some kind of help. Because to not only like insult me by stealing my stuff, but to pour salt in it by dumping my ashtray everywhere, like I have some kind of compassion for him. I know it's weird and demented, but I felt like, yo, that person needs help, or those people, whoever robbed my car. All right, we're going through the 10 Commandments, and then we're going to talk about some more about Louisiana and the ironic hypocrisy of that entire state. I feel bad if you live in Louisiana, leave it in the chat. And by the way, I put all these news articles in the description, links in the description. I encourage you to read this stuff for yourself. Be aware of what's going on. And hit subscribe and the like button. Hit the notification bell, because I go live every weekday, and I'm going to give you some point of view that you're not going to get anywhere else. You only get this point of view living the experience I've lived. And damn if I lived it. All right? And I'm just trying to share the wealth of knowledge I got. So number 6, you shall not commit adultery, which, the irony, I didn't include this in the links, but I think the mayor of Baton Rouge, I don't know, one of the mayors in Louisiana was all caught up in an adultery scandal, and her personal security cop detail had to be removed while he was investigated for committing adultery with her. So again, it's interesting when these people, who are all fallible and fallen, they're not going to be perfect, but when they're implementing laws like the 10 Commandments in every school system, which is unconstitutional, it is just fascinating to be able to see the timber in their eye. You shall not steal. I wonder if we can look into corruption scandals within the Louisiana government, or how they've been bribed. And stealing from the people because they stole their votes. They were bribed by corporations, and they essentially steal resources or whatever and give it to the people, to the corporations that bought that politician. Number 8, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Number 9, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife. Number 10, you shall not covet your neighbor's goods. All good things, all good tenets of a good way to live. But the irony again is, Louisiana, at the same time you're trying to do this, put up these 10 Commandment posters in every school, you're also trying to make it easier for you to execute people. In the article I linked below, it says now it's easier for them to resurrect the electric chair, and they're adding new execution methods. Interesting language, resurrect the electric chair. Well, they're resurrecting the 10 Commandments in school. Well, they're not resurrecting, but erecting 10 Commandment posters in school. Now, we talked about how Louisiana does not give free lunches to kids, or school lunches. Never mind free lunches. Just, they don't feed kids that are hungry at school. They force kids to pay, which is just kind of the worst, you know? When you say America's the greatest nation in the world, land of the free, home of the brave, the wealthiest nation. Well, why can't we provide kids with food when they go to school? Just look it up. Any kid that's undernourished, malnourished, under stress is not going to learn as well as a kid that's well-fed, okay? And I don't mean these partnerships with Lunchables that's giving the kids, you know, lead paint chips in their Lunchables. But I mean like truly healthy nutrition that can be found within the communities, farm-grown, locally sourced. I mean, there are so many ways to develop these programs for children to be well-fed and educated. But when you look at where Louisiana is in the educational system, you would think they would not be focused on the 10 Commandments. Anyone want to guess? We got, what, 50 states and 2 territories? Let's just do the 50 states. Does anyone want to guess, and leave it in the chat, what you think Louisiana is ranked? And it's not 50, okay? Nobody wants to put it in the chat, then this game sucks. And I'll just tell you. Well, they were at 46, and they moved up last year to 42 or 41. Conflicting reports. I put the report that says they were at number 41. 9 away from the bottom. In Louisiana, your priorities, I feel like a parent right now. I am a parent, but I feel like I'm dadding out right now. Because Louisiana, your priorities are all messed up. If you're focused on putting the 10 Commandments up in the schools and not focused on not being 41st out of 50 in the country, 41st, they're ranked 41st. You would think they'd be like, well, we got to work on other things, right? No. You know why they're working on the 10 Commandments? Because they go, if we already got a sucky school system, we'll put some fear posters. You'll go to hell if you do any of these. And we'll just, instead of really trying to teach them and get them to critically think, we'll put up things that remind them of their mortality and how they must be subservient to the government. Or, and the irony, again, is so weird in this one, that if they don't listen to these laws, the government will kill them. And then if I was in those schools, I would be asking, well, if it says thou shalt not kill, the government's putting up posters that say thou shalt not kill, and how does the government get to execute people? And then I would probably be singled out. Just like when I was in Catholic school asking these kind of questions. Well, if Jesus says to love everybody, why are you priests and nuns so mean? And there I go, I'm going to see you after school harassing the teachers. I wasn't harassing nobody. Anyways, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I go live every weekday. And I want you to critically think about the things that are happening, that are going on right now, because you seriously would think with the time, energy, money, resources that are spent in Louisiana on putting fucking posters up in the school of the 10 Commandments, that they might be a little more concerned about getting their school out of being 41st in the nation. Close to 50. They're 9 away from the bottom. They're not focused on that. They want commandment. That's what's going to save them. That's what's going to educate the youth. Having posters of the 10 Commandments. Jesus. Now, I want to briefly talk, and I put this down in the description too, because if you know anything about crime, which Louisiana doesn't, and if they're saying, oh, we got to get tough on crime, we have big crime waves and this and that, well, you're very uneducated then, Louisiana. Let me speak to you for a second directly, okay? Louisiana, do I have your attention? Does Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie still live in Louisiana? Or was that all like a ploy after Hurricane Katrina? You guys might be too young for that one. Anyways, I want to speak directly to you, Louisiana. And I put the link, the PDF down below so you can follow along. What lowers crime? How to really, truly affect the crime rate. The truth is, we know what keeps us safe. Research demonstrates that 3 key factors are particularly important for lowering crime and increasing safety. Are you listening, Louisiana? I need your full attention right now, okay? Stop looking at the poster of the 10 Commandments on the wall. Look at me, Louisiana. The 3 things to lower crime and increase safety. Number 1, a steady income, whether through employment or public benefits. Number 2, access to safe, stable housing. And number 3, access to care and services. I know this might be mind-bending to wrap our heads around this one, but when you consider it, when you have all your basic necessities met, when you have money to buy food, when you have stable housing, somewhere, a shelter to live in, and when you have access to services or care for if, your health goes haywire, or you need some kind of mental health or something like that, when all those are met, it seems like the crime goes down and the safety of your neighborhood is better. You ever wonder why wealthier neighborhoods are more safe? Well, because nobody's in need. This is basic fucking life 101 stuff. If you've ever been wealthy and in poverty, you understand that there is a dangerous zone and a safe zone. And the safe zone is usually the people with all their needs met. Now in Louisiana, I want to reference back to America being land of the free, home of the brave, best nation in the world, yada, 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 wealthiest nation. If we are all that, why can't we just guarantee the bare necessities for our citizens? We have the opposite right now in this country. God bless you and God help you if you're going through it. But if we are what we claim to be, number 1, then you would think we would meet these 3 easy to obtain goals. Steady income through employment or public benefits, access to safe, stable housing, and access to care and services. We should be able to meet that for every citizen of this country, irregardless of what they do, who they are, where they are. That's what I'm a proponent for. And we should all have that. And then we'll have the safest country in the world. Okay? And I included that PDF, that's a file, down in the description so you can read through this. It's a whole sentencing.nv.gov. It's a crime statistic, and it has the resources within the PDF, the links to read the studies and XYZ. And this is something I've been speaking about for a long time that can help. I'm not saying it eradicates 100% of issues, because there are just different issues. But even people who say that, oh, the issue we have with crime, with some of these things that are happening, is mental health. You know how hard it is for people to get access to mental health, to number one, to afford it, to number two, find an appointment, number three, to make sure you have the insurance that can cover. I mean, it's so many different things. But this is just basic stuff. This is just like bottom of the barrel basic stuff that we should be providing before we start putting posters up of the 10 Commandments, which is such an obscure, arbitrary thing. Not needed. Not needed. Nobody needs a poster. I don't give a shit if you put the real rocks out in front of a school. It's not needed. You know what's needed? Stable housing, good public benefits and employment, good source of income, food, water, shelter, care, services, all these things that if you think we were the wealthiest nation in the world, if we were the number one nation, the land of the free, that these would be provided for our people. What are we paying taxes for? You know? Where are my taxes going to? They ain't clean up the potholes on the road. I want them to help my neighbors make sure they're fed, make sure those kids are well fed, clothed, homed, warm in the winter, cool in the summer. But I encourage you to read all this stuff. This is an interesting route Louisiana is going to display their stupidity. But I guess, you know, if they think they're going to move up from being 41st in the nation in education, the route is posters of the 10 Commandments on the wall. I just say, if you got to put them up on the walls in the schools, if you got to put up posters of the 10 Commandments in schools, you should have to do it in front of the judge, in the back of the courtroom, where the judge has to look at that "thou shalt not kill" before they sentence people to death. Again, I'm not taking a side on any of that stuff. I'm just saying, if you're going to do them in one place, do them in the other. Let's make it fair. Put up the 10 Commandments in all the courtrooms. But keep an eye out for what happens next. And I promise we'll talk about some more fun stuff tomorrow, because I'm going live again tomorrow. So hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the thumbs up button. Come on. You see it there. It's free for you to do. It means the world to me. It helps the channel. And to everybody who has subscribed, I thank you so much. And to those who couldn't join me today, My Sky New Zealand, Coup the Freestyler, Corrupted, Bandito Suavecito. If you guys watch this later, shout out to you guys. Respect. And thank you to all who did watch. Peace.